Alright, so as of right now, the second Mercedes seat has no contracted driver for the 2022 season. And really there are two potential candidates, George Russell and Valtteri Bottas. Now, a lot of people will be up in arms about how Bottas could even be considered a potential candidate for the 2022 season because of how he's performed so far this year. Of course, he's had his dabble of strong performances such as Monaco, but even then, Valtteri's now infamous bad luck got the best of him on that occasion. I will say he did perform alright in the Styrian Grand Prix, landing himself a podium, but that was mostly down to Sergio Perez's crappy pit stop. But you can't fault Bottas's consistency all weekend. However, on the other hand, we have George Russell, a very promising young driver who seems to prove how bad he wants that Mercedes seat every single time he qualifies. He constantly lands his Williams in Q2 and has gotten really close to Q3. How close, you ask? I don't know, only some 8,000ths of a second. So some may be asking right now, how is Russell not the obvious choice for next season? Well, let's take a look back at the 2016 season. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were having a heated battle for the World Championship, which ultimately ended with Rosberg winning the championship and retiring soon after. So because of the level of the competitive nature of these two, their relationship as teammates and sadly even friends fell apart. And the truth is, if the teammates in a Formula 1 team can't get along well on and off track, that team won't last. Personally, I think that if Rosberg had stayed even one more year with Mercedes with Lewis as his teammate, things at the Mercedes Petronas HQ would have gone real south real fast. So when you look at things through that lens, you'll notice Bottas has been a great wingman and teammate to Lewis Hamilton these past few years. And since Mercedes had to go through the Hamilton-Rosberg era, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying they wouldn't want that to happen again. Now, when you look at Russell's F1 career so far, you'll notice that he's always been the first driver, if you will. And coupling that with his extremely impressive performance at the Sakir Grand Prix last year in a car that was molded for Hamilton, you could understand why he would head into the team with a lot of confidence. And if he shows the same sort of performance we saw last year in Bahrain, I wouldn't be too surprised if we have another Rosberg-Hamilton battle in the coming years. So that, I would say, is the main potential reason for keeping Bottas. But then, chances are if Russell plays his cards right, he could play this sort of second driver role at Mercedes until Hamilton retires, which isn't very soon as he's just announced that he's extended his contract with Mercedes up until at least 2023. But again, if Russell plays the second driver, his chances of staying at Mercedes for the long term seem higher. And one more thing. Hamilton did say that he doesn't see the need for Mercedes to swap out drivers anytime soon and that he's happy with the current Mercedes driver lineup. People obviously speculate that he wants Bottas to remain because he wouldn't want too much competition from his own team, and I'd imagine that is the reason. The team could take Hamilton's words into consideration for the next season's driver decision, but at the end of the day, we won't know until the final decision is made. So if I had to predict whether or not Russell will move to Mercedes next season, I would probably say yes, but only just. I do think that Mercedes would like to play it safe when it comes to the second driver of the team, but Bottas' performances this year are definitely not helping Mercedes much with competing for the Constructors' Championship, and I feel someone like George Russell could be of great help with that next season. I think Mercedes will wait until the end of the season to make this decision, despite Russell wanting to have his contract settled by the end of the summer break. I'm pretty sure they still want to see how Valtteri performs for the rest of the season without giving him a harder knock on his confidence. And in my opinion, with how the team messed up a couple of his races so far, they owe it to him. If he performs well in the rest of the season, I think everything could change and chances of Bottas remaining at Mercedes would dramatically increase. But if not, like I said before, I think that seat could easily go to George. But at the end of the day, that was all my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of it all, and if you liked this video, consider liking and maybe even subscribing. But on that note, I hope you have a good night and I hope to see you next time.